Hello, everyone.
Is that the intro? You want to stay with that? Now, do you feel comfortable?
You're doing the thing again.
Do you feel comfortable with...
You really want to stick with that, Joseph?
Do you want to stick with that intro?
We'll figure out the intro, if that's the intro.
Well, guys, we made it through another year. 2022 is over, and now it's 2023, and we got to recap all of our favorite movies.
It doesn't feel any different, I must say.
You don't feel any different? I feel rejuvenated. I feel refreshed.
Did they tell you to be that?
Since yesterday.
Listen, we are fans of films.
Jason, 2022 is
No, don't do it again.
When you look back on 2022, it was an absolute shit show, but we got some amazing movies out of it. I feel like, as far as all genres across the board, I felt like 2022 was one of the better years for movies that I've seen in a very long time. What do you think?
It's been a good year for movies. I think I've tuned out the past few years. I haven't been as invested as I should have been. This is the first year I've seen I've seen more movies this year than I have in the past probably 5.
I felt like there was a real, of course, like for the past few years have been so dominated with massive blockbusters, and that's one thing that the pandemic may have helped in a way by pushing productions like to smaller movies, smaller projects, not relying completely on these massive Marvel blockbusters and things like that. We both have a lot of these films on our list, these like more quiet, independent, like kind of cerebral, weird films. We had an introduction into the mega slasher, which I think is going to usher horror into like a more like extreme realm, which I know I'm happy about. I know you have your thoughts on that. About certain movies and the genre, but we have a massive list here. We each have 20 movies. We have 10 honorable mentions, and we have 10 of our main top 10s. And I think when I look at this list, I'm just like, holy shit, this was an amazing year for movies. The
more I look into it, and I feel like this happens every year, but the longer the year feels, the sooner I forget movies I saw. I cannot believe some of the movies that were on my list. The more I went down the hole of what came out in 2022, I was just like, I thought this came out 2 years ago.
And there's so much content. Even when I do my monthly recaps on the channel, I'll look back at a movie I watched 3 weeks ago and I almost completely forgot about it because there's been 10 more TV shows, 10 more movies. It's just like, it's insane. It's so hard to keep up with.
I mean, with the oversaturation of everything, and I mean, this has been a blessing and a curse since COVID, is that all these indie movies are able to be picked up and put on the main page of a huge streaming service, and it gets traction. So that's kind of a blessing in disguise I didn't know we'd have with everything moving to streaming. I thought it would water everything down, and instead we started just getting really cool gems.
I think it's thriving, and I really hope we get these smaller movies.
But these 20 were hard.
A lot of our movies are pretty. Well, let's just get into them. Let's start off with. You want to kick off your honorable mentions?
Yeah, I have 20. Yeah. So I will put Dune on here. I wish it could be higher, but I only saw it the one time. I need to rewatch it. It's been on HBO. I have it on my list, but just a beautiful movie. I do want to say about my list, and I wrote it down here, so that may be a little corny, but this is I made a letterboxed list, and there's a description you can put. I put, this year was all about the theater experience. Big rooms, big screen, and my big white ass in the seat. So my list really tends to lean into personally the funnest times I had going to the movies this year. A lot of spectacle, but sometimes that's what I want from cinema. I want to be amazed. And we'll talk about a few movies on here that do that. As much as there are these indie gems that we find that we love that are on here, this year just really brought me back to when I was a kid. In multiple cases, literally that. I know that's a corny way to review
No, it's actually a really good point because, and Dune is a good one too. That's one we kind of both forgot about until right before we sat down. And that is a great example of something, you can make a popcorn movie and make it good. You know?
We had so many examples of that this year. This was such a good year for massive budget, good movies.
Yeah, because I kind of went on my rant about independent, smaller movies, but there was a good amount of bigger movies.
I said without Spielberg. I'm aware the Fabelmans came out. I'm saying when Spielberg...
I have no interest in seeing that movie. I don't know why.
It's really
I wish
good.
I did. Maybe I'm sure I'll end up watching it.
But I didn't mean... I'm aware that Spielberg dropped a very, very well-regarded film. I just meant that, thinking of blockbuster directors. that kind of comes to mind. And this year was like a lot of, I guess they've been making movies forever, but in my mind, you know, Denis Villeneuve, a couple other people.
There's a whole new class.
Yeah, we're seeing new, even if they're all still 60 and been making movies since the 80s. We're seeing a lot of names that have made recent masterpieces. Coming out with third and fourth movies.
Dune is, I would say, even if you don't like it, I mean, it's one of the most impressive movies I've seen visually.
I wish it could stay in theaters.
Yeah, it's just amazing, and the sound design was incredible. So that's I think that was our both 11 honorable mention. Now we'll do my first honorable mention, which didn't quite make my list. And when I was making this list, I kind of surprised myself that it wasn't on my top 10, but it goes into something we were discussing about rewatchability. When it comes to a movie, like me putting these movies on a top 10 list, there may be movies that I think are amazing, that I think are incredibly well made, but I'm all about rewatchability.
Yeah.
You know, if a movie isn't going to be as highly rated for me if I'm not going to rewatch it. I'm the type of person that loves to watch movies over and over again. So there's several movies on my honorable mentions that are incredible movies. I just wouldn't sit down to watch them over and over again. And that was The Whale for me. So The Whale, I dropped a full review on that. It was really sappy and I got overly melodramatic in that review, but I loved it. What's your next honorable mention?
Yeah, I wish I would have seen The Whale. I wish. I want to go, but like I said, with how my year was with movie going, this one might be a 2023 viewing for me. Seems like an at-home watch. I'd cry a lot. I know this one's on yours. Black Phone. It's Scott Derrickson. He did Doctor Strange. He ended up taking time off Doctor Strange and that universe. They wanted him for the second one, but before they installed Raimi in that seat, Derrickson was going to be the director of it, but he ended up kind of dropping out and lost interest in it. Some family stuff he wanted to sort out, like trauma, like past stuff he went through growing up, and you kind of sense that all over the Black Phone. He made this instead. And I just love seeing a director who makes such a small budget,
good for him, right?
Movie. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. A lot of these directors, Marvel and these places are getting, that's kind of been the frustration.
They get lost in the sauce.
They put them on billion-dollar movies, and it's like, that's not the kind of film they want to make.
That's rad. So he went from Doctor Strange to doing a smaller movie with great actors and
Ethan Hawke.
Say what you will about that movie. A lot of people didn't like maybe the way it shook out at the end. I think maybe the ending could have been a little stronger. I don't know. I don't know how I would have changed it, but something wasn't quite as impactful.
It's too Joe Hill for me. It's too. I know he wrote the thing it's based on, right?
He wrote the short story.
Yeah, Joe Hill's. I don't know. I won't diss the man.
It's almost like he has a similar problem to King of just kind of not quite knowing how to wrap up his stories, because the same thing happened in The Tall Grass.
It's the same pieces connected differently. Like especially when you bring in the charm, like the 80s kid stuff, and it's like, I get it, dude. Like that's why I like Summer of '90. What's that movie? Summer of '84.
Great movie, yeah.
Yeah, like where it's just doing it in a different way.
It's not all about like kids getting brutally bullied.
Or Super Dark Times, if you've ever seen that. Super Dark Times is great.
The Northman is my next honorable mention, and I think this may be on your list, so we'll kind of hold off and we'll talk about this one because I know we have a lot to say about this one. So we'll talk about that in the main 10.
100%. My next one for honorable mentions is going to be The Sadness.
Yes, yeah, and I
have that.
We just might be talking about that movie again as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
We'll save that for the main conversation. Yeah. We have a lot of crossover here.
We do.
So that's good.
It's our best friends.
So we will. Yeah, we're
gonna cousins.
That's right. We're gonna dive deep into The Sadness. In just a couple minutes.
Already there.
My next one's Barbarian, and I think this is another one that's in. That may or may not be in your main list. So we're gonna dive deeper into that one. We'll hold off for now.
I can't wait.
Okay.
Next on my honorable mentions is the John Wick Chapter 4 trailer.
I was like, did John Wick 4 already come out?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
But the trailer is good enough.
Are you gonna throw that in your honorable mentions?
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's so good. I can't wait to see John Wick 4. Just give me John Wick 4. I'll see that in 4DX.
Oh shit, that's fucking funny.
Just getting pounded. What else you want me to just do another one?
Was that your legitimate honorable mention?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a real one. Okay, I thought this was a bit. Okay.
Well, it's on there. But I'll just throw another one in there. And then Hellraiser is the other one that we can just skate by because we both love it.
I did a review on it. You can watch my review. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was extremely, extremely average. But I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. You know.
Thank you.
Personal joy.
You're next.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope is in my honorable mentions.
Let's talk about Nope.
Didn't quite make the top It didn't quite make my 10. I assume it's in your 10.
It is.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it when we get into your 10.
Okay. What else?
Go ahead.
Yeah. We're all going to the World's Fair.
Hey guys, Casey here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking the World's Fair Challenge.
That's one that I did include in my honorable mentions, but I love that movie.
Me too.
No, about 4 people saw it.
I know. I keep seeing it pop up on other people's lists, which is nice. Because it seems like a 2-person cast.
It kind of is.
Isn't there literally no one else but
it's
the lead
basically
girl?
This lead girl just carried. Do you want to read the plot synopsis of that?
Yeah.
Because what's the...
So We're All Going to the World's Fair. It was directed by Jane Schunbrunn. And now it does say 2021 here, but we both saw it in 2022.
It ran the circuit in 2021.
Let's talk, yeah. Reality and fantasy begin to blur when teenager Casey, alone in her attic bedroom, immerses herself in a role-playing horror game online.
Oh, that's
like speaking
right.
of the whale. It's like what is that game? The Blue Whale, where there was like someone gave you challenges to like cut yourself or remove a finger, and then at the end it made you kill yourself.
So in this one, the challenge is you watch basically what is essentially like a minute-long video that has a bunch of flashing, crazy images, and supposedly like you could die after watching it or something
like an online
weird.
trend.
It's like an online trend.
Like Grimcutty.
And then you start to, it does start to blur the lines, like what is real, what is not. She starts to be getting like paranoid, and there's also a subplot of some dude, kind of like maybe a potential like online predator. It's kind of a hard movie to explain, but the movie is carried completely by this actress's lead performance, and she's great because the movie is essentially her the entire time.
Anna Cobb is her name.
She's great.
Yeah. Yeah, she's wonderful. Reminds me of the girl from 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what was your next one?
You Won't Be Alone.
So haven't even seen it, haven't heard of it.
This one's extremely hard to describe, and this one's not going to be for everybody. But
yep. I see Naomi Rapace in here.
Yeah.
Directed by Goran Stalevsky. In an isolated mountain village in 19th century Macedonia, a young feral witch accidentally kills a peasant. She assumes the peasant's shape to see what life is like in her skin, igniting a deep-seated curiosity to experience life inside the bodies of others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I'm gonna watch it.
So as this witch or whatever this person is, she is literally birthed into multiple people. So it's kind of like what's that dog movie where the dog keeps on getting reincarnated? It's kind of like
A Dog's Purpose.
It's kind of, I mean, that's the easiest way I can describe it because Naomi Rapace she's listed as a star on the poster, but she's just one of several people that this entity inhabits.
Gotcha.
And this person is just birthed, so she's like a 25-year-old dude, and then the witch is like Naomi Rapace, and then it's a young girl. I can't remember this period of time, but it's an extremely quiet movie. It's like
a ghost
up
story?
its own ass. I've never seen that.
But is it like do you like it because of the usual? Is there like body horror elements, or is this a quaint movie? It's
extremely quaint, but there is some grotesque moments, but the movie is not a shocking movie. It's a very quiet, beautiful movie, lots of very still shots of just like beautiful landscapes and just vignettes.
Okay.
It's one of those movies, those pretentious art house movies that are hard to explain, but it's a beautiful, amazing film.
It sounds like a ghost story. Like
I didn't see Ghost Story. I have to see it.
It's like framed. Watch it when you're sad. Or no, watch it when you're super stoked. If you're stimming one night and just need to come down a little bit,
just watch that
a
movie
Ghost
to bum me out.
Story. It will bum you out.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
Are we in the top 10 yet, or are we still?
We're still in the honorable mentions.
Okay. Incantation.
一直想着怪物的话，怪物就会住到你的脑袋里面去哦。
Inspired by a true story of a family who believed they were possessed by spirits, this film follows a woman who must protect her child from a curse. It's very good. It's a found footage movie, and this girl is like trying to save her daughter, who might be possessed. I won't say any more than that, but I have a couple found footage movies this year that I am very excited to talk about. This one it was a good watch, but there were, I think, better films in that subgenre this year. So I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original movie.
Okay.
Just surprised me.
That's the
I usually passed
Incantation?
over it. Incantation, one word. Yeah, it plays with your expectations a lot as well.
Okay.
We call it plays with your expectations.
Cool.
Yeah.
My next is Windfall.
Nothing feels fair. You have everything and I have nothing.
I didn't take anything that wasn't mine.
Now this is kind of the return of Jason Segel. It also has the guy. What's the actor?
Jesse Plemons.
I wish I had my phone. Yeah, Jesse Plemons.
Directed by Charlie McDowell, starring Jesse Plemons, Lily Collins, and Jason Segel.
This movie was the first time I had seen Jason Segel in a long time, and he plays this kind of petty criminal who plans to do this burglary or a robbery. He wants to rob this house when he thinks this big like billionaire tech guy is going to be out of town. So he goes there, and as soon as he starts rummaging around, this guy shows up unexpectedly with his wife. So now he's stuck there. It's just a cast of 3 people. It's him and these two other people, and they're kind of like trying to negotiate. They're each trying to negotiate their way out of the situation. So Jesse Plemons plays this really shitty, like billionaire type guy who's like so smug and kind of realizes that Jason Segel is fairly inept at what he's doing. But what's interesting about this movie is Jason Segel, even though he's like a robber, he doesn't seem like an evil guy. He just seems like a kind of a bumbling guy who's just trying to make a buck. And just like he just fucked up and he chose the wrong house at the wrong time. And the movie kind of plays out kind of like almost like a play, because there's only 3 people in the entire. What's the other actress's name?
Lily Collins.
Lily Collins. She's great.
Yeah, she's good.
I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, and the movie is just awesome. It's really suspenseful, and I like those movies that have just a handful of actors.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely worth your time. I think this one was a Netflix original as well, so definitely check it out. It's fucking awesome. What's your next one?
I have a couple more. Terrifier 2 is an honorable mention for me.
Fuck yeah.
Mostly because I saw it kind of late.
Yeah.
But
I think we all know I liked Terrifier 2, and that I will be talking about that one again, so we can
Yes, we'll talk about that when you bring it up.
We'll circle back to that one.
I want to hear you pontificate about it.
Sure.
And then Bones and All. That's another one I just want to graze over. It was very good.
Yeah, that actually didn't make my honorable mention or my top 10.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't recommend it. I recommend that movie, man.
This is on here more due to lack of movies I saw. Like, I do like this movie a lot out of the movies I've seen.
Not one you want to watch over and over again. It's kind of a good, maybe watch a couple times. The performances are good.
It's good to have.
And it's original.
Yeah, I'd own it.
Yeah.
I'd probably buy it on Blu-ray if I saw it. And then I have 2 more, so you...
I had and I think we'll be talking about this in your list too, so I'll breeze over this one. The Menu is on my honorable mentions.
I don't have that anywhere.
Oh, you didn't have it on your list at all?
I didn't see it.
Oh, shit, okay.
Didn't see it.
It didn't make my top 10, because I wanted to save that for ones that I think I'll watch more.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth your time. It's a really interesting movie based in the food world, the restaurant world. It talks a lot about class and how the rich fucks of the world, the 1%ers, kind of lose touch of everything. The basic premise of the movie is this group of elites go to this kind of once-in-a-lifetime dinner with this renowned chef. They have to pay like multiple thousands of dollars for this once-in-a-lifetime restaurant experience on this private island. But the chef there, played by Ralph Fiennes, has something else in store entirely for this group of patrons. But you have John Leguizamo, I think John Leguizamo's in this. John Leguizamo, Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Fiennes.
Nick Stahl, I believe.
Yeah, that guy.
No, not Nick Stahl.
It's Nick something. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Nick
Good
Stoltz.
actor.
Nick Stoltz. Nicholas Stoltz.
I don't think it's that either.
I think that's what it is.
And it's a Nick Holt. I think it's Nick Holt.
Let's find out, dude.
Nicola Holt.
It's Nicholas Holt.
Just like I said.
So,
but it's good. I recommend.
How different is it from The Hunt? Is my question.
It's way different than The Hunt.
Really?
The Hunt's fun. It's way different than The Hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a completely different movie.
Okay, good. Then I might watch it.
I can see why you'd say that, but it's different.
Okay, because I'm like, I don't
No,
know.
it's not as schlocky that.
Pissed on all day by the higher ups.
No, that's not how it is. And how many more?
I have 2 more.
Okay, go ahead and run through your 2, and I'll do my last 2.
Okay, Glass Onion, the Knives Out story. It's good. I know this is a best of list, but I just want to say, because this is my platform to do it. Rian Johnson, who made Brick, which is like top 10.
You've been talking about Brick for years,
haven't I?
You told me to watch that
when I was like 16.
Years.
I recommend this movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
So he makes that. I've liked his career every step of the way. I'm a Last Jedi defender, so I know, but he's great. And Knives Out, it was just funny to me, and I get why it's a good idea to be like, oh, what if I do a mystery movie, but I like don't do one.
Yeah. Like a Clue type of movie, but
but it's cool because I spoil it halfway through, like halfway through. But
yeah.
But then I still add mysteries and like other shit.
It wasn't so much who is gonna die. They kind of kill the person off, and you're like, oh, we already know who gets killed.
Yeah, or they're
now
like,
who did
we
it?
know exactly. Or halfway through, they reveal some giant twist that's been happening the whole time, and you're like, okay.
I dug that. I have not seen Glass Onion yet, but I'm glad to hear that he didn't just try to directly just repeat the same scenario. That you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Get cleared up.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So I have not. I still haven't seen Glass.
No, keep going.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just keep talking.
You're going to be on camera looking like you're going to throw up, so I'd like you to look not like you're getting ready to fucking.
I don't want to be.
You look like you look like
be
Requiem for a
anymore.
Dream right now.
Ooh.
So I have not seen Glass Onion yet, but I'm glad to hear that he didn't just try to like completely just duplicate what he did with the first one. Sounds like this one has a lot more moving parts and it's kind of different.
I thought it'd be way worse, and it was better. So that's always
because
nice
people in my circles haven't been talking highly about it, but it's also I'm in more of a genre type discussion with a lot of other people. So
this is about as poppy looking as you can get.
But it looks amazing. Rian Johnson's great, so
yeah.
I'll definitely check that out. For my next honorable mention, I had Clerks 3. This was one this is straight for the fans.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. I will pretty much say that anybody outside of Kevin Smith's audience, like if just a normie was just to pop in Clerks 3, I don't know how much they're going to get out of this. It's pretty much, as all of Smith's films, completely self-referential. It's in the world. It's a love letter. I hate that term, love letter. I feel like that's thrown around.
It's to his fans. He's been making movies for his fans. Arguably his whole career.
Yeah, especially like in these last 4 or 5 movies. So
yeah,
that's what I went into in the review. When I reviewed the movie, it's like, is this movie perfect? No. Is some of the dialogue it's like, to me, it doesn't matter because I'm in Kevin Smith's world. He made that movie for the fan, and he is such a fucking passionate filmmaker. I say that all the time. It's some people could say that's like just an excuse for bad filmmaking. No one can argue that
Kevin Smith is not at least passionate about.
Fuck yeah, he loves what he does.
He just makes what he wants.
He's devoted every moment of his life to movies, talking about movies, podcasting about movies, doing live shows. I just find him very endearing. Yeah. I love that guy. So that was it. And then I'm just going to run through these last 2 because these are not movies we need to talk about a lot. These are the bottom end of my honorable mentions, and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you did include somewhere on your list, right? Or no?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay.
Get out of here.
And Studio 666, which I think was your number 1 of the year, wasn't it?
One.
Oh shit! I just spoiled your number 1.
That's number 1.
I love both of these movies. A lot of people hated on the TCM remake. I thought for what it was, it's pretty great. Could they have done better for the final return of Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Sure. But they shot it during a pandemic. They shot it with a low budget. And what they were able to accomplish, as far as gore and the look of everything, it probably looks a little too pretty for a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but I dug it. And Studio 666, it's pure fun. If you have not seen it, it's a lot of fun, man. It's like, it's a legitimate horror movie, you know? I've heard some people describe this as like a bonus feature on like a movie or on a DVD or something. But it's a real full-length horror movie with great special effects.
Really?
Foo Fighters arrive at a house to record their new album. They all play themselves. This is, of course, before Taylor Hawkins died. And the house is possessed, and Dave Grohl gets possessed and starts killing off all his band members. Jenna Ortega's in it, okay? She's in it, and it's fucking great. John Carpenter makes cameos. Let's just move on. I feel your look, dude.
I'll watch it.
And you know one thing I've noticed? You cannot hide your disdain for movies, and I kind of love it. Like,
well, you just weirdly looked at me like you're popping out of your pants when you're like, Jenna Ortega's in this movie, and I'm like, as if that's a giant pull to me. Like, oh, thank God.
I'm just trying to
Grace
find any small thing that
Wednesday.
might make you even have a crumb of interest for it.
It does give me a crumb of interest. It gives me a crumb.
Did it move your crumb a little bit?
It made me crumb a little bit.
All right, let's finally get into our top 10 after
Finally, Jesus, it's been like a half hour.
It's been a half hour. We already had to cut once because the card ran out. So,
Yeah.
what you got for number 10?
Dude, number 10?
We will say this. I didn't put mine in any sort of a real order. So, my number 1 is my number 1.
That's how I am too. I'm like, my top 5 are top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Top 5, top 5, top 5.
Let's
so, Top Gun, Maverick.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see Top Gun Maverick? It's probably still in the theaters. It's been like 7 months.
Yeah,
it's so good. And I took my dad to see it, which is like, that's dad. That's dad. The old Giga Dad movie.
I should have went and saw it with my father.
Oh my God, why didn't you? It is the daddest movie of all time. My dad, I could hear him the whole drive home, like, he's hanging out the window going, it was so good.
I've
So
heard it's
good.
amazing. And to be honest with you, I have not heard a single bad thing about this
year,
movie.
bro, I'm telling you, is spectacle.
What
This
it's
is
like
year
the
of
most surprising,
blockbuster.
but Top Gun is like the most surprising movie ever. I can't believe how
You didn't
it's
have
got to
faith
be
in
good.
it? You didn't have faith in Cameron?
Here's the
nor
thing.
Cruise.
I expected it to be okay. But I just knew it was a Tom Cruise blockbuster, super high budget thrill ride action movie.
And
so
it
I was
is.
like, I'm sure it's okay, but it can't be like good.
But it's actually that.
That's what
all
I've
those
heard.
things you just said.
Yeah.
It is that. So
Yeah.
it's like it's what you hear. It lives up. This is the live up to the hype movie.
That's so crazy to me. I have to watch it.
Insane. Please do.
I watch
What's
it.
your number 10? We'll be kicking yo's off with. Boy.
This isn't in any order, and if I was putting this in order, this would have been closer to the top of the list. But I cheated a little bit here, and I put Pearl and X together. It's my list. God damn it, I can cheat if I want to.
Dude, fuck you, Loki.
You know, sorry.
I fucking hate your guts.
But I loved Pearl and X. Pearl is one of the best movies I've seen.
Didn't see it.
One of the
I saw
most
X.
original movies I've ever seen. It's a lot different than X. Continues the story, great. It's a prequel to X. The performance from Mia Goth is obviously the standout. It's an incredible piece of like throwback style cinema. It's shot like an old MGM musical from like the 30s. The color saturation, the score is amazing.
Really? Is it scary?
I wouldn't call it scary.
No.
It's disturbing.
Really?
It's just fun and unique and intoxicating, if you will. It's fucking amazing.
I haven't heard enough people tell me about it. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it.
man.
I'm very aware of what it is. I don't watch trailers. I don't try and spoil. I don't watch a lot of video essays about movies that I haven't seen yet. You know, so it's like I don't really want to hear someone.
It's like if Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz had like a descent into madness. Like that's the vibe of this movie.
because she's playing. Because in the first movie, in X, Mia Goth plays both the old lady and the girl.
So this is the
In
prequel,
this one,
so-
it's the old lady as a kid. So it's
Right.
her without the makeup. Okay,
It's her backstory.
So cool, though.
So you get to see Pearl as she's growing up. Her dad's sick, like in a wheelchair, drooling on himself. Her mom's this like crazy German militant woman that doesn't want her to leave the house, and she slowly goes insane. The only thing that she wants in the entire world is to become a star and get the fuck out of her house. This little farmhouse. She doesn't want to like fucking, collect chicken eggs and milk goats and shit like that. She wants to get out and be a star.
Obviously, she's stuck there.
She's stuck. So she has her one shot. There's an opportunity in the movie where she has her shot to get out, and it doesn't really, I don't want to spoil it. It's amazing.
I should see. I saw
It's
X
amazing.
and I did like it.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
I don't know why I was sleeping on Pearl.
What's your number 9?
My number 9 is the Northman.
What'd you think of the Northman? Because
I
you're a
love
big
it.
Eggers guy, right?
Huge Eggers guy. I loved it. I was so impressed with Eggers. I was a little nervous, speaking, kind of with that bigger budget. I got a little nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. But the Lighthouse, I don't know why I think I know what to expect. He's only had 3 movies now, and each is so unique that you are dying to know what he's going to do next because you know it won't be the
And
thing
what could
you
he
just
do
saw.
with those kind of resources?
Well, the Northman bombed, which is the problem, right? I mean, what if they don't bring him back? But that's kind of a blessing because it's like, oh, now we don't have to have that worry.
The
Just
thing was,
stay in
you
your
know what's
lane.
funny about that movie is because when you think when that movie was getting, I did a bunch of like, anticipating videos, like behind the scenes type stuff where I was following along with the production, and I kept thinking, the whole the big deal about The Northman is what can a heady, insanely idiosyncratic director do with that much money? And what he did was make the most Robert Eggers movie he could possibly make.
I know.
With this budget. And what I noticed is when I watched this movie, I don't see that, I don't understand it. To me, it didn't need to be $100 million movie.
It so did not, dude.
You could have made that movie for $20 million.
I thought it was. I didn't really understand how high budget it was until I was looking more into it.
Yeah.
It's so small scale.
But he had to make 10,000 period accurate costumes, and he had to do everything exactly like that. And I think the problem was his budget got away from him, and it did not need to be that much fucking money, dude.
Will he ever like chill on historically accurate things?
That's why Northman failed.
Will he compromise? Like, do you think? Will he always stay, even if he has to work on zero budget?
I'll tell you what, he's not going to get that type of budget for a while.
He'll have to prove himself once at least.
Yeah, and he kind of did. He had this was his shot.
You know, he spent all the main players, all the players. Didn't work out, but
Nicole Kidman was miscast too. So my number 9 is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Didn't see it.
Oh man, it's amazing, dude.
I want to see it.
It's such a good movie. It's one of those rare like magical movies. This comes from the Daniels.
I love Swiss Army Man.
Yeah,
dude.
Swiss Army Man is so
I
good.
love it.
And they also did the Turn Down for What music video, which is one of. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
It's like one of the most like iconic music. Like they don't make iconic music videos anymore, and that's one of them.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, it's amazing. This movie is it's a chaotic, insane movie, but it also has its very quiet, sweet moments. It's this woman who runs this laundromat. She's living a very humdrum life. Something happens where she's able to access this multiverse that shows her all of these different lives and paths that could have been her life had she made different choices.
Okay.
So she starts entering in these different dimensions and seeing her life in different ways. What if she would have tried to be an actress or, a singer? All these different things that she wanted to do.
Wow.
It works. It sounds crazy, but somehow everything in this movie works. The return of the actor who played like Data in Goonies and the little Asian kid from Indiana Jones and the Goonies. He's in it as an adult. He plays her husband. It's an amazing movie. Kind of hard to explain, but it's a beautiful film. It's one of the best movies I've literally ever seen. So
really,
you have to see it, man.
Ki Hui Kwan?
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
It's just amazing. It's sci-fi. It's action. It's kung fu.
I love me some Michelle Yeoh.
And she's incredible. I did not know her whole backstory, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Police Story. I started diving into her old stunt work. She's a maniac.
She's insane. Yeah, she's so good.
It's amazing.
My next one is Barbarian.
Fuck yeah.
At number 8.
An amazing movie. Zach Clegger from The Whitest Kids You Know. It's so cool to see him kind of birth himself as this director, and he's already being like kind of put in the same class of like Jordan Peele and those other directors. The people just want to say everything's Jordan Peele-esque or something.
Work, dude.
But it's great, man.
Yeah.
And the way the movie shifts at a certain point, it's unpredictable. I like the ending. I know some people had issues with the ending.
People don't like it.
I loved it. The random appearance of Justin Long.
Random, but it's not a cameo. Like a random complete.
He's not in the trailer at all, at least the first trailers. What was funny is after the movie was released, they did another trailer that started out with Justin Long.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw the second trailer, but
it's still clever.
Yeah, so fucking great movie.
Yeah, I love Barbarian.
Super weird. My number 7 is Triangle of Sadness. Now, this is one of those movies that may have slipped under the radar, one of those kind of Oscar bait style movies. If you've been avoiding it because it seems like some kind of weird, annoying drama, I assure you this movie does something completely different. This again kind of deals with, a lot of these movies have these themes of like class and rich people and the 1%. This movie does have similar themes to something like The Menu, but this movie does, and this is one that I'm very careful not to spoil because I think even in the trailer, it gives away a whole kind of plot point.
Now it does.
Yeah, it just kind of gives away a whole point of the movie that I didn't know it was in it because I went in completely blind. I went and saw this movie with my uncle. I didn't watch a trailer. I didn't watch anything about it, and I left the movie absolutely floored. It starts out on like a cruise ship. Woody Harrelson is in this movie. Bunch of rich fucks go on this cruise ship, and it all builds up to this captain's dinner. where Woody Harrelson has been locked in his like room this whole time, and then finally the movie really kicks into gear when they have this big captain's dinner, and the movie just completely goes off the fucking rails, and things just start going completely wrong, and then the movie shifts into something completely different.
Barbarian style a little bit.
It kind of is like that. It does take a hard shift in the middle of the movie, because you're kind of watching these characters. You're following basically these two like high-end models. You follow them from London, and then they get on the cruise ship and they start interacting with all of these different rich people from all walks of life, and they're kind of all just hanging out and intermingling. And then the captain's dinner happens, and it goes off the rails, and it's fucking awesome. So watch Triangle of Sadness. I think you'll really dig it. It's a long one, runs about 3 hours, but it's good. I highly recommend it. So I know how you're...
Bury the lead there. I would have liked to know if it was 3 hours and I was excited to see it.
Cut that.
Cut that.
You already heard it, but...
My number 7 is a found footage movie. Better than Incantation. It was my favorite found footage movie of the year. You said you heard good things about Deadstream. You're wrong.
Okay.
The movie's bad.
I've heard good things.
From liars.
I'll take
it's
your
not
word.
good.
I'll take your word for it.
Not good. What is good is Low Life.
I've got the chat logs right here.
Stop, it's me, Julia.
The 13-year-old girl you were coming here to have sex with. We're gonna make a different kind of video.
Follow my lead. And whatever I say, just go with it.
Yo, what's up, dude?
Have you seen Low Life?
Tell me about it.
Dude, Low Life.
The people want to know.
First time director, I believe. It's so funny. I looked this up on Letterboxd. Only has 77 reviews. Half of them seem to be like friends and family who are like, this movie's sick, or like, I was a writer on this movie, which happens sometimes. I'm always happy to see those. But this is made, directed by Tyler Michael James. And it is about Benny, a small-time YouTube star who catches predators online, experiences a night from hell when he lets one of them into his own home. If Deadstream is popular, that's fine. I don't know if it's popular, but Low Life, I wish were in its spot.
That sounds really interesting.
It is so good. The way this night devolves and the lead performance is so compelling. Low Life is really good, dude. I wish more people knew
So he's
about
talking
it.
to his audience like, hey, I got this predator, we're gonna get this fucker.
Yeah, and he's doing like, this will be my greatest video. It's behind the scenes. I'm gonna invite him over to my house.
Oh, fuck.
And the movie kind of does transition. It keeps building and you start going, oh wait, no, I don't know where this is going. Like, it's not like a found footage movie like Deadstream.
It sounds fucking awesome.
Where it is a YouTube video. And he's in YouTuber mode the whole film.
Yeah.
This is
like
a
Superhost
good,
or something, yeah.
Yeah, this is a good lead performance. Like,
awesome.
This is great. So, highly recommend Low Life. Please watch it.
100% will watch this.
Yeah.
My number 7 is Fresh. Did you see Fresh?
I did see Fresh, yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was charming.
Yeah.
It's a date, you know, it's a bit of a romance thing. Because, yeah, it is dark. The subject matter is darker than the movie itself.
For how much of a genre film it is, or like how much of the genre leanings as far as the horror elements, it is really fluffy.
Yeah.
And really poppy. Because it starts out like almost like a kind of like a romantic comedy.
Cute. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This
girl's on the dating scene. She's trying to find a boyfriend or whatever, and she meets this guy. She thinks he's cool, and then she goes and hangs out with him. I don't know how much I want to spoil.
Turns out he is cool.
Turns out he. I feel like I always like to go in blind in these type of movies. What's the guy? What's the actor in the fucking
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan, and what's the girl?
The girl is not Dakota Johnson.
She has Dakota Johnson vibes.
Huge
though.
Dakota Johnson energy.
Yeah, she does.
The other girl is Daisy Edgar Jones.
Daisy Edgar Jones. She finally meets this guy. She thinks she meets a good guy. She's on the dating scene or whatever. She meets Sebastian Stan at a grocery store. They have a nice little meet cute, and she thinks he's this great guy, but really, you know, it's kind of obvious the way it's going to play out. He's kind of a psychopath, and she doesn't know that. And once she gets inside his house, shit starts hitting the fan. But he's so fucking charming in this movie, and she's so. The performances are awesome.
Good.
So I really dug that one. All right, so that's number 7, Fresh. What's your number 6?
My number 6 is going to be Speak No Evil.
He's only a child, for Christ's sake.
You can't talk to him that way. What is wrong with you?
I forget which country this movie comes out of, but that's okay because it crosses countries, and it's about two couples who meet on a vacation trip, and the one couple invites the other to stay at their home, kind of secluded home in the mountains, and thinking they're going to meet this couple they met on vacation, they kind of find the same people, but they are starting to behave a lot differently than they expected, and things just get more and more uncomfortable, and this couple keeps pressing the other couple in emotional, physical, sexual ways.
It's almost like they arrived and meet almost two completely different people.
Intentions seem wrong from the start in this movie, and it plays with that for a long time, and leads to an ending, and that's kind of half the reason it's getting so popular is because of the ending, where something really horrific happens, and it made sense for me if you go into it with the understanding of its allegorical nature and the undertone of how you should kind of watch this movie.
One thing that I noticed, a lot of the complaints, including my own complaints about the movie, is how frustrating the main characters are and how dumb their decisions are. But the thing is, and not even like a up its own ass kind of way, that was the director's intentions, to show you how his intentions were for his characters to be this dumb. To show somebody what happens if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't take charge. Yeah, these passive people who continually put themselves in situation after situation when they should just get the fuck out. So that was where I was so frustrated, but that was the director's intentions. He wanted you to be frustrated.
This movie could have been just called that.
Frustration.
Frustration.
Yeah, and it does have one of the most shocking endings, because I did review this movie and I did recommend it. It didn't make my list, but it is. They went for it. By the end of the movie, it is extremely shocking. It's fucked up, and I give the director credit for it. Is I give
genuinely. It's not like Terrifier 2 where it's fun.
Right, like
it's
funny.
not fun. It's not a fun ending.
No,
it is bad. Like if you want to be horrified, this ending.
My jaw was on the floor. I respect the director for how far he took the premise, dude. Because he could have pushed out, but he went all the way, and that's what kind of made the movie.
Left it implied. Like he could have left it implied that it was so dark. It could even be as dark as it is, but they. Yeah.
The ending kind of saves the movie, honestly.
Yes.
For me at least.
That's fair. It closes it out for me beautifully. Yeah.
Yeah. My number 6 is Halloween Ends, which did you see Halloween Ends?
I didn't.
No. This movie has been talked about exhaustively, so I'm not going to go super deep into this one. It's like probably the most talked about horror movie of the entire year.
Yeah.
I liked it. I'm not a huge lifelong Halloween fan, so I didn't have all this baggage of, this is not how it should have ended. This is not how the saga should have ended, blah, 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 blah. I just looked at it for the standalone movie that it was, and I like the story that it told.
Does David Gordon Green kind of round out the trilogy?
It's done, yeah.
It feels good though? Does it feel ended?
To me it did. Okay. To many other people it didn't. I liked it. He kind of kept the structure of Halloween 1 is its own thing, and then Halloween 2, the original, was like the hospital one, and it goes a little bit different. He kind of mimicked that structure a little bit, and on the third one, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, did not have Michael Myers.
Totally
it was
different.
A completely different thing, and I think that's what he was kind of going for, mimic the original Halloween trilogy, and I think, in my opinion, he did succeed, and I think he rounded out the trilogy in a way that worked for me. It might not work for some of the lifelong Halloween fans, but to me, it felt complete, and I loved it. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. Kills was okay, just a lot of dumb, evil dies tonight type of shit, and I thought he rounded it out. Halloween Ends is almost could be like a standalone movie, but for what it was, I liked the story that was told.
I gotta see it. That makes me want to see it more. You kind of sold me on it.
I think you'll dig it.
I've seen the first two, so
yeah. This one there's a time jump. It goes in a completely different direction, introduces a new character in the third film that is the main character. So it's different, but I think you should definitely check it out.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What you got next? What are we on? Number
6?
Your number 6.
Number 6 for me is going to be Nope.
Nice.
Jordan Peele. I'm just going to read my quick little thing here on my list because I think it's something.
Not at all a polarizing movie.
I don't even think it is. I don't hang around people who don't like Nope. I think that's all it is. It hasn't been polarizing for me. It's been the North Pole because it's Christmas time. I
live
movie,
on the internet.
You live on the internet, and it's toxic.
It is.
Peele is M. Night Spielberg in this one, and I pray to Christ he continues to only take the best of those two with him like he does here. That's kind of all I want to say.
That's your letterbox blurb.
That's my little blurb.
I think that's accurate.
I think he's given a bigger budget, similar to Eggers, and he was able to be entirely himself. It didn't feel that out of left field for me. But yeah, the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. Everyone's talking about that. There's some night for day stuff that kind of bothers me where they do that. But I think it complements this. I think it's what they're trying to do. I think it works.
And you mentioned the comparison to Eggers being like his first two movies were a little smaller, and then they finally go to the big...
their shot.
Yeah, and it does feel... They feel like different... They feel different from the other works.
And Peele continues his streak of making things that shouldn't be that scary to me very scary.
And mood and atmosphere,
when the
great performances.
When it sucks them up and it's going through the intestines, that got me, dude. The imagery in this movie is scary.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do and just shows Jordan Peele's talent.
And even if you saw 5 different trailers of that movie, it still doesn't get away exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. I liked Nope. It didn't quite make my it made my honorable mentions, but I liked Nope a lot. The performances, I felt like Kaluuya, his lead performance, it was a little more subdued than I wanted. I know that was the way he directed it, but
yeah, that's his character, man.
That's
who he is.
That's his character.
Let
that's
Keke
his character.
Palmer have this spasm.
You mentioned Keke. I had never seen her in anything before. She is a fucking firecracker. She's amazing. What a great performer. Yeah. But the vibe of that movie is great. I love all the 90s stuff. There's so many 90s references, like the Chris Kattan, the Scorpion King references from the crew jackets and stuff like
pop
that.
Culture, yeah.
90s pop, because that's at least for me, Jordan Peele grew up in my exact, like, we're really close in age. So a lot of the references are from those deep cut 90s stuff that I like. So yeah, Nope's great. Yeah. My number 5, moving on, is Violent Night. Now, I love this movie. This is a movie that I went in almost begrudgingly. When I saw the trailer, it looked like it was going to be like some cheesy Hollywood bullshit that I wasn't going to enjoy. I ended up leaving the theater so fucking satisfied with this movie. It absolutely exceeded every expectation that I had. It really did. I went in kind of wanting to hate. This is one of those movies that I went in almost wanting to hate.
Yeah.
But I knew I was like, I have to see it. And it really, really works, man. It does.
2022's Krampus is kind of the vibe I'm getting.
It kind of is. Like,
the gem.
It's got, the thing is, it does a lot of, some people had issues with the tone because it's extremely violent. It's a rated R, almost die-hard, violent action movie. Just like we used to get all the time with Demolition Man and like Commando, all those straight like in action movies, Die Hard. It's really similar to Die Hard, but it also has like these crazy like kind of saccharine, sugary, sweet moments and captures the spirit of like a cheesy Christmas movie.
Interesting.
And somehow it works. Beverly D'Angelo, David Harbour, John Leguizamo again, who's so underrated and always so good. He plays like the main villain of this movie, but perfect throwback to those 80s and 90s action thrillers. Definitely need to check it out. Dude.
I need to check that out. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's great.
My number 5 is going to be David Cronenberg's Return.
Surgery is sex, isn't it?
Is it?
Surgery is the new sex.
He had to try topping his boy.
Yeah, after Possessor.
Crimes of the Future.
I didn't see this one yet.
Viggo Mortensen joint. Yeah. It's great. It's great. And I think if you're someone that creates content or is just a creative mind, going into the movie knowing that that's kind of what it's about, really interesting. It's kind of a fairy tale. It's kind of a David Cronenberg talking about basically the movies he makes. It's really interesting. I don't want to say too much. It's kind of a vibe movie. You get on there, you just kind of sink into it. Because that's what the movie's about, is just lingering inside something.
Because that's what I heard. It's kind of like kind of aimless and vibey, like not a hardcore. Like there's a story there, but there's a lot of like
there's a story. There's like 4 plot points. You know, it's like, hey, this happens. Hey, this happened. But you just kind of go from point A to B to C to D, and then it ends. Yeah, it's very simple. It's very.
There's a lot of body horror type stuff.
It's rather than horror, it's like body, like whatever you call that. Like it's
really clinical, kind of.
Yes, it's surgical in nature specifically. And
literally.
They just make entertainment in the future. Whenever this movie is set, is this guy doing like autopsies,
performative surgery,
his partner pulling things out of his body.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's all metaphor and it's all good. It's good.
That's on my list. I got to see it.
Yeah.
My number 4 is The Sadness.
The Sadness is crazy.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I was watching it, and it keeps getting more and more effed up, more and more nasty. And then I'm like, this is just like Crossed, the comic book series. And I started getting into Crossed recently. Shouts out Garth Ennis. I don't know what that
Garth
is.
Ennis?
I don't know what that is. Isn't that a white supremacist?
Well, you said
thing?
anus and anus, and then you made like a butthole thing.
Oh, that's true. Garth Ennis with the penis, dude.
Okay. Oh, Enos.
His comics are nasty, and it's the plot of The Sadness, which is basically if a rage virus infected you, but there was kind of a weirdly, brutal...
orgasmic thing to it.
Well,
there was a pleasure from pain.
You get pleasure from being as sick as possible in your murders. Like, you turn into a psychopath.
Well, and you like things like... You even get ecstasy being murdered.
It's your id. Yeah, like pain and horrible like Hellraiser stuff is like what you want to do to everything.
It really reminded me of like a big budget, because it's not as, it appears like a zombie flick.
It's a rage virus movie.
Yeah, it's not really a zombie movie, because people never, you don't have to die to get it.
It's 28 Days Later.
It's kind of something, it's like that. There was a movie called, way back in the 90s, there was a movie called Splatter Naked Blood. Did you ever see that movie?
No, of course not.
It was a movie about... I think it was some lab in China or Japan. It's like a Asian film. It's a movie where this pharmaceutical company is developing a medication. I think it's like an experimental birth control medication. But when they injected to it, something's wrong within the makings of the medication, and it makes you basically have extreme orgasms from like harming yourself. So they'll have scenes of like people putting their hands in deep fryers and like eating it, and they're just like in ecstasy.
Really?
And it's a pretty badass movie. You should
From the 90s?
It's like 80s or 90s. It's called Splatter Naked Blood. But it reminded me a lot of that, to where
that's sick.
But that's what made it so sadistic, is that all of these fucked up things that are happening in this movie, these people are loving it.
Yeah. No, that's what's so great about the comic. The comic's set in America.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. That's why I was like, this certainly isn't based on that, because it's like it kind of comes off as a foreign film in every respect.
But it's a Canadian English-speaking director, but it was shot in Thailand or something. It was like a Canadian production.
But they mentioned
really weird
that they were actually inspired by Crossed. Like that's kind of what it is.
It's not related to Crossed, or
no? He was just heavily inspired by it, I think.
So, I feel like you have to give some kind of credit. I wonder how that worked out with the rights issues and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, well, it's similar. I mean, I don't think you could really... I don't know. It just seems similar, but it's really good.
It's
really
amazing.
brutal.
It's one of the goriest movies I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's extremely well directed.
Very dark, and cinematography is kind of beautiful.
It's amazing looking.
Yeah.
It looks, for that type of movie, you would never think that type of genre film, like a splatter movie, would be that well written and that well shot. And it's a beautiful film. It's a weird film to call beautiful, but...
Like wet black hair is all I think of when I think of The Sadness.
Especially the diner scene and stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's just
the sadness,
soaking wet.
The Sadness fucking rules.
It does rule.
It fucking rules.
I'm gonna rewatch that.
Yeah,
soon.
watch The Sadness. It's fucking awesome. We're now in the top 3. What you got?
My number 3 is The Banshees of Inisherin.
God, I want to see this movie so bad.
Sweet ass movie.
Yeah.
It's just sweet. It's weird. It's fascinating. It's just Martin McDonagh if he were just making a little stage play.
Is this the guy who did In Bruges?
He did In Bruges. He did Seven Psychopaths.
Okay, so it is that guy.
3 Billboards. Like, I love his writing in this movie. If you don't like his writing, like if you only like Seven Psychopaths or something, you won't like it. It's a breakup movie about 2 buddies, and it's not brutally sad. It's very charming. It's very funny.
His stuff usually looks highly stylized. Is he kind of doing something different than he's done before?
This is stylized in a whole new way. It's filmed beautifully. I think it's Scotland where they are. This tiny little village. Everything is just so pretty and nice to look at, and the performances are great. Brendan Gleeson is so killer. Like,
that guy's such an underrated actor.
These 2 coming back after In Bruges is so nice. I had no idea the movie was going to be this quaint. I thought it was going to be similar to In Bruges. You know, from just casual trailer. I'm like, oh, Brendan Gleeson, Colin Farrell. There's got to be a gun somewhere, even if it's a talkie movie. But it's great. I highly recommend it.
All the clips I've seen have those amazing landscapes, like wind and tall grass and
shots.
misty oceans and shit like that. I love that. It's kind of like Lamb.
The internal stuff in this, the internal shots, like the blocking and the staging. It's just the more you pay attention to it, the more you realize that even though it's small scale, the craft is still there.
That is highly on my list to see. I've been hearing, particularly like in the last week, I've heard like multiple people talk about this movie.
People are plugging it in at the end of the year.
Well,
they just saw it.
Yeah, that's true. And like the word, in the word of mouth, when it catches on like that.
They just put it on HBO Max, by the way. So
did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how we'll watch it. That's how I'll watch it. Cool.
Number 3?
My number 3 is Men. Did you see Men?
I didn't. Okay. I love me some Alex Garland.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
Alex Garland is fucking amazing. And this is one of these movies that it's really hard to describe. And I don't even know how good me doing a plot synopsis would go into it. Go for it.
Having not even seen it, I've just been reading a lot about it.
Yeah. It's based on some lore.
Is it? Okay, yeah. A woman moves for some reason to like a small town.
After a tragedy in her life.
Okay, after some kind of past trauma. And a man speaks to her, and she meets a man, and then that man keeps appearing, following her, talking to her throughout the movie, but it's the same actor playing many different roles.
Yeah, it's like different versions of the same person, where she realizes that, wait, like every man in here is like the same person.
Ugh,
and there's a whole, and I was surprised, like a lot of people, there's a lot of folks who didn't like this movie.
That's the vibe I got.
And it kind of blew my mind. I think being that it's like this major feminist story about how kind of men are so shitty and all this stuff, but a lot of people are upset. I think, honestly, and I hope I'm not being sexist, but a lot of female viewers didn't care for this movie. It's like a feminist story written, directed by a man. You know? I thought, so maybe I'm not the person to speak on it. I thought it was fucking amazing, but the way the movie ends is like crazy body horror, and it's so abstract, it's so fucking weird. It definitely feels like an Alex Garland movie.
Well, and also what feels like an Alex Garland movie is pretty interesting female protagonist.
Right.
What the hell? Annihilation is...
Annihilation,
get it
Ex
done,
Machina.
dude.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get the judgment. A man can... If it's a good story...
Yeah.
Call it out when it's bad, but if it's good, it's good. You know?
Well, it just goes back to the whole thing when you write a movie. Does whatever the subject matter is about, does it always have to be exactly that person writing? So if I'm writing a movie, can the only thing I can write a movie about is like just two dudes talk, like that's the only thing I can write about, you know, like it doesn't work like that. So I think it's a beautiful movie. It's the score is incredible.
Yeah.
Just watch it. Just at least give it a shot. If you're a fan of Annihilation and Ex Machina, this is different, but I think you'll dig it.
I gotta see it. I just want to say before we get into the top 2, I feel so bad for the movies I didn't see this year.
Yeah.
I'm watching movies.
Now we have like kind of a purpose-driven thing, and that's kind of why I tend to watch so much movies, because I create content. But what's your number 2?
Dude, it's the Batman.
Okay.
The Batman, bro?
Okay. Talk about it.
Matt Reeves, bro?
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson,
He's done some movies.
He has made movies.
He has made some movies.
Dude, ever since Cloverfield, he made Let Me In, which is your horror guy.
Still haven't seen.
Oh my God!
I haven't seen either one of those.
Matt Reeves is the most slept on director.
Okay.
Slept on, dude. He made the Planet of the Apes trilogy, which will go down in history as one of the better trilogies in cinema that no one talks about.
I thought that was Tim Burton.
He made the Mark Wahlberg one.
Oh, okay.
You know you're fucking being a dipshit.
I'm being
on
facetious.
cam. You little freak on cam.
So I just, bat in the room.
The Batman.
I fucking saw the Batman. I did a big rant video about how much it fucking sucked.
You did?
Yeah. I didn't like that fucking. I thought I was so. I try hard, but I can't remember a time that I was more bored.
What are you talking about?
I was fucking so
You're just
goddamn
not a fan
bored.
of the Batman. You shouldn't have seen it. Shouldn't include it on your channel.
Batman is
no one wants to hear you talk bad about Batman.
You know what's funny? Batman is like the one superhero I can get behind. I love the vibe of a vigilante that's not based in like supernatural shit and powers and blue beams from the sky. But it went too far, and it was too
what
real.
Did you want?
It was like it was basically just like Zodiac. What's funny is I was waiting for this sort of noir detective Batman story, but it went. To me, man, it just felt way too slow, and I just struggled to latch onto it in any meaningful capacity.
It is 3 hours long. I get it.
fucking slow and quiet and whispery,
so
and it was just so boring to me.
I love it, I know.
I'm glad you liked it. I really am.
It is so
It just
good,
didn't work
man.
for me, man.
Yeah, this and Avatar, you know, are those two movies where we mentioned earlier that it just tapped into something. And Dark Knight, I kind of base everything in my life around when The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
Like, is it post-August 2008 or pre-2008? I do that all the
like
time.
those. I like the Nolan movies.
Yeah. This movie is, it just really gave me what I needed, and I think it firmly gave what every, like, and this sounds really dumb, because who cares, but like true Batman fans or just whatever that subgenre of Batman fan that's like, I want this movie, it hit for a lot of people.
I'm hoping for a sequel. We get all of that dark detective moody shit, but maybe just trim the fucking runtime down a little bit and give us like a little bit more of creative action.
Keep the runtime and give us a little more.
Yeah, that's all I want.
That's fair. That's my number 2.
So is that number 2? So it's my number.
It's your number 2.
And remember, these aren't in order. I should have saved this one for a little higher on the list and put something like Pearl. But I guess my number 2 is going to end up being A Wounded Fawn. We talked about this in our...
I thought you were joking when you were going to put that.
No, I fucking love that movie. I thought it was awesome. We talked about this a lot in our pilot episode. Yeah. I thought this movie, I love creative, weird, bizarre, nonsensical movies. This was like a serial killer movie, but it was also like a fever dream. It was weird. Maybe I just fucking had too many edibles when I watched this and I just thought it was awesome. No. But I don't know. I really loved it. Not a lot of people saw it. I love this writer and director. I think he's awesome. I can't remember his name. But if you're into like serial killer, weird, cerebral, like abstract movies, I think some people who like those type of movies might dig it. But
it's a good Shudder movie. It's good. Good Shudder. It's a good Shudder original movie.
It's like a visual, like a art installation of a movie. It's a vibey movie. It's a vibe. Yeah. Number 1.
Dude, my number 1 you haven't seen, and I think it's insane, but you got other stuff to do, and I support you and love you. RRR.
Yes. Yeah.
Will make you a man.
I feel like when I see this movie, it's going to change my life.
I mean, it should. And I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at home. Everyone's like, oh, the theater. It wasn't playing at any movie theater near me. I checked online twice. It's really good. It's epic. I can't even explain it. The scale of it is so grand.
You suggested me a video by Patrick H. Willem.
Yeah, great YouTuber.
I didn't know a lot about this movie. I knew a little bit about it. So you told me to check out that video, and I had heard about RRR. I've heard it's amazing. But I watched that video, and I'll link that video down below in here so you can watch it. If there's ever been a video or like something to like make you interested in to make this movie seem like a must-see, that video sold it to me.
Yeah.
The scope, the spectacle, the people involved. It's an Indian film. And you already sold me on it, but when I watched that movie, or when I watched that video, it completely set it in my mind, like, how the fuck did I not watch this movie? And I have a feeling if I would have watched it, it would have been in my top 10.
Yeah, so it's a Tollywood movie, directed by probably the kind of the Spielberg of India right now, kind of a grand, epic guy.
He's directed like 2 of the 3 biggest...
Yeah, Bahubali 1 and Bahubali 2.
The highest grossing... He's like the James Cameron of India.
Yes, exactly. And it has the 2 most famous actors in cinema over there.
If you had Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt starring in the biggest movie of all time,
it's amazing. So it's like 2 guys who meet and they are fast friends, but at the same time, and neither of them know that the other is actually their mortal enemy.
Yeah.
Basically. And the tension builds. Also very long movie.
And everything is cranked to like 13.
It's worth every second of your time because even the drama is cranked to like 13. Yeah. So everything is so important and so huge and they're so good and there's musical numbers in it that bang hard.
Yeah.
I kept the soundtrack all year. I've been listening to the soundtrack to this movie.
RRR. It's
fire.
I'm absolutely going to watch that movie. I can't wait to fucking see
it.
riveting.
Dude. What's your number 1?
R is for riveting. Now we're going to go to my number 1.
Rise, roar, repeat.
My number 1, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anybody who watches my channel. Terrifier 2 is my number 1 movie of the motherfucking year. The mega slasher of the decade. It's a cartoon. It's a fucking 2.5-hour trauma movie. It is
nasty little bitch.
It's Art the Clown doing just the most sadistic, fucked up things. There's full like 3 to 4 minute epic kill scenes. There's hot babes. Sierra, the lead chick in that movie, is amazing. I've talked about this movie exhaustively, and I know everybody else has, so I don't want to talk about it forever. It's not, again, I hate this phrase, I overuse it, but it's not for everybody. But if you are into super gory movies, this
mega slasher,
mega slasher genre, if you weren't sold on Art the Clown, which I wasn't when I saw this movie, Terrifier 2 will put you over on Art the Clown. One of the most disgusting, if not, I think it's easily the most gory, the goriest movie I've ever seen in a theater.
And the goriest horror icon movie. Like, it's
kind of
than any other icon has gone. This
Great
is
fucking
edgy.
point. When people say he isn't a horror icon, the kills in Terrifier 2 are gory than everything that's ever been done in a Jason, Freddy, anything like that. It's just, I fucking love it, and I can't wait for 3. And
the level
that's
of
my
sadistic.
number 1. Yeah,
it earns it. It earns a number 1 spot, and I think it deserves to be on someone's number 1 spot.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. That's a good take. I'm so glad you love it.
We fucking did it. We did it before our mic packs died.
Yeah.
We had to, the camera hit the 30-minute limit 3 times filming this shit, but we fucking did it. Cheers to 2022, on to 2023. I'm glad we're doing this, man, and we have so many fucking ideas about what we want to do further. So
we're super stoked. It's an honor, as always. We're kicking off with a best of list. I think it's the best first proper episode we could do, and I can't wait to keep doing videos. We're gonna have so much fun stuff coming. So.
We love it.
A+.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Watch movies, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Stay cute. Nailed it.